were born a king, born into a royal family, and you were told from the time that you were a little boy or a little girl that you had a divine right to rule, that you were a gift to your country. And that being said, that you deserved absolute power. What would you do in those circumstances? It's easy to contemplate, a little harder to actually be in those shoes. And for this unit, we're discussing the conflict between absolutism and representational monarchies that arose in the 17th century. If we think about governments today, democracy, all the way towards what we might consider a totalitarian state, dictatorships, we need to understand that, like everything else, it's been a long progression of political and philosophical developments that has led to the creation of the governments that we know today. That it is in the 17th century that you begin to have this friction between absolute monarchies in places like Russia and France and the desire for representational monarchies. Not democracy, but the right to have your views represented perhaps in a legislature, a parliament, as Britain had. And so, as we discuss that evolution today, the underlying theme is the conflict between stability, which arises from a strong central government. I in no way am condoning or justifying absolutist governments, dictatorships, but the underlying theme is that stability has often arisen from a strong executive, and that with representational governments, the movement towards democracy, people are represented. People have the freedoms ever so slowly over history that we have come to enjoy today, but that there is oftentimes an inherent conflict. What do I mean? What is it I'm getting at? In the United States, one of the most free countries in the world, there have been conflicts. During the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln suspended the writ of habeas corpus, suspended the constitutional liberties of American citizens, said you are going to go in jail indefinitely, and you don't have the right to a speedy trial, you don't have the right to a lawyer. And Abraham Lincoln's argument at the time, one of our greatest presidents ever, was that this was necessary to preserve stability. Others decried him as a dictator for doing that. This theme between the stability that arises from a strong executive and the ever more legitimate demand amongst the masses for more representative democratic styles of government in world history. This goes back to the 17th century. As individuals in England said, we don't want an absolutist leader. And yet, the ever more free governments have become, the more they have struggled with how do you handle moments of crisis. Can a body of 400 representatives make crucial decisions when you're at war? These are themes that are still relevant today. We take pride in our freedoms in the United States. We relish them. Other countries like Russia would ask the United States not to lecture it on the meaning of stability and freedom. They prefer a strong executive branch, the stability that arises from that. These are difficult themes, complex and not simple. I want you to think carefully about some of the larger issues I brought up.